Good evening, my friend. Welcome back to English with Thomas. Wherever you are right now, I hope you are sitting in a quiet place. Maybe at the end of a long day. Maybe after work, after school, after many small conversations that stayed outside your mouth. Today, I want to talk about something very gentle but very real. Something many people never say aloud. I want to talk about being quiet at work, but loud in your head. If you are someone who speaks little in meetings, who waits before raising your hand, who prepares sentences carefully, who thinks a lot before every word, this episode is for you. I am quiet too, in many rooms, and inside my head, there is often a long conversation that no one else can hear. Let me tell you a small story. Years ago, I worked in a place where meetings happened every morning. We sat around a long table, coffee cups, notebooks, the sound of pens touching paper. Every morning, the same thing happened. People spoke quickly and ideas came out fast. Voices filled the room. And I listened. Inside my head, I had many thoughts. I thought about better ways to explain an idea. I thought about problems we might face. I thought about simple questions that could help everyone. But my mouth stayed quiet. Not because I had nothing to say, because I had too much to say. I was choosing words. I was checking grammar. I was asking myself, is this sentence clear? Is this sentence polite? Is this sentence strong enough? By the time I was ready, the moment had passed. Have you felt this too? You are silent on the outside, but inside, your mind is full of noise. Full of sentences, full of questions, full of stories you never tell. Let me say one simple sentence. Repeat after me. I am quiet on the outside. Say it slowly. I am quiet on the outside. Now another one. But I am loud inside. But I am loud inside. This feeling is very common for people who use a second language. At work, in English, silence often does not mean emptiness. It means effort. It means care. It means you are building your sentence carefully, like someone building a small bridge, word by word. Let me describe a scene. Imagine you are in a meeting. Your manager asks a question. The room becomes quiet for a second. Inside your head, a voice begins. I know the answer. I can explain this. I should say something. You begin to form a sentence. First in your own language. Then you translate it. Then you change the words. Then you make it simpler. Then you check the verb. While you are doing this, someone else speaks. The moment is gone. And you think, next time I will speak. But next time, the same thing happens. I lived like this for many years, and I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was shy. I thought I was weak. I thought I was bad at English. But later, I understood something important. I was not quiet. I was careful. I was not slow. I was precise. I was not empty. I was full. Let me share a small truth with you. Silence is not the opposite of intelligence. Silence is often the result of deep thinking. If you are quiet at work, but loud in your head, it means your mind is working very hard. Now, let us practice a few phrases together. These are simple sentences you can use when you want to enter a conversation. Repeat after me. I have a small idea. I have a small idea. Another one. Can I add something? Can I add something? And another. Let me think for a moment. Let me think for a moment. These sentences are not strong. They are gentle. They open a door. They give you time. They tell others, I am here. I am thinking. I want to join. Let me tell you another story. One day, after many quiet meetings, I decided to try something new. I did not try to speak a lot. I tried to speak once. In one meeting, I prepared only one sentence. Not a long explanation, not a perfect idea. Just one sentence. When there was a small pause, I said, I agree with this point. That was all. It was not brilliant. It was not special. But something changed. People looked at me, they nodded. And I felt something very important. I felt visible. Sometimes speaking is not about showing how smart you are. Sometimes speaking is only about saying, I am here. Let me ask you something very gently. In your head, at work, what do you say to yourself? Maybe you say, my English is not good enough. My idea is not important. They will not understand me. If you say these sentences often, your silence becomes heavier. So today, I want to give you new sentences. Repeat after me. My idea has value. My idea has value. Another one. It is okay to make mistakes. It is okay to make mistakes. And another. I am learning, not failing. I am learning, not failing. Language is not only about grammar. Language is also about courage. Every time you open your mouth in a second language, you are doing something brave. Let me tell you something very personal. When I speak in another language, even now, inside my head, there is still noise. I still think, is this the right word? Is my accent strange? Will they understand me? But I speak anyway. Not because the fear is gone. Because I decided that my voice is more important than my fear. Let us slow down for a moment. Take a breath and think about this sentence. You are not quiet because you are weak. You are quiet because you care. You care about meaning. You care about respect. You care about being clear. This is not a problem. This is a strength. Now, I want to help you with something very practical. When you want to speak at work, do not try to say everything. Choose one idea, one simple idea, and prepare one simple sentence. For example, I think this is a good solution. Or, I have one question. Or, in my experience, this works well. Short sentences are powerful. Simple sentences are brave. Let me repeat one more phrase with you. In my experience. In my experience. This phrase is very useful. It tells others, this is my story. This is what I know. Now, let me share a reflection. Sometimes I think that being loud in our head is not a problem. It is a sign of sensitivity. It means you notice many things. You notice tone. You notice feelings. You notice small details. In a loud world, quiet people see more. And when you finally speak, your words often have weight. I want you to imagine a different future. In this future, you are still quiet sometimes. You still think before you speak. But now, you allow yourself to speak imperfectly. You allow your accent to exist. You allow your grammar to be human. You allow your voice to enter the room. Not to impress, but to connect. Because language is not a performance. Language is a bridge. Let me tell you one last small scene. At the end of a meeting, a colleague came to me and said, "You know, when you speak, everyone listens." I was surprised. I said, "But I speak so little." And she smiled and said, "Yes, that is why." Sometimes silence makes your voice stronger. So if today you are quiet at work, but loud in your head, I want you to remember this. Your thoughts matter. Your English is growing. Your voice is welcome. You do not need to become loud. You only need to become a little braver. One sentence at a time. When I say keep trusting yourself, I do not mean that suddenly all fear will disappear. Fear is patient. It waits quietly inside us. It appears in small moments. When your manager looks at you. When someone asks for your opinion. When the room becomes silent and your heart becomes loud. In those moments, your body often reacts before your mind. Your shoulders become tight. Your breath becomes short. Your thoughts begin to run very fast. You think, if I speak, I might be wrong. If I am wrong, they will see my weakness. If they see my weakness, they will respect me less. These thoughts are very human. I have had them many times. Let me tell you something important. In most rooms, people are not judging you as much as you think. They are thinking about their own sentences, their own mistakes, their own fear. Everyone is loud in their own head. Even people who speak a lot. Even people who sound confident. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the decision to speak with fear. Now, I want to slow down and help you listen to your own inner voice. Close your eyes for a moment, if you can, and ask yourself, what do I usually say to myself before I speak? Maybe you say, don't say anything. It's safer to be quiet. Wait for a better moment. If this is your inner voice, I want to gently change it. Next time, try to say this instead. I will try one sentence. Repeat after me. I will try one sentence. Again. I will try one sentence. Not a perfect sentence, not a long sentence. Just one. Because one sentence can change a day. One sentence can change how people see you. And one sentence can change how you see yourself. Let me describe another moment from my life. I remember a day when I did not speak in a meeting. After the meeting, I went back to my desk. And inside my head, the meeting continued. I imagined what I could have said. I imagined better answers, better explanations, better timing. I replayed the scene again and again. This is something many quiet people do. We speak in the past. We speak in our imagination. But the real world does not hear that voice. So I learned a new habit. After every meeting, I wrote down one sentence I wished I had said. And before the next meeting, I practiced that sentence. Not to be perfect. To be ready. Preparation is very powerful for quiet people. If you know the topic, prepare 2 or 3 simple sentences. For example, I think we should try this first. Or, I'm not sure about this part. Or, can you explain this again? These sentences are small, but they open space. They invite conversation. They tell others, I am part of this. Now, I want to talk about something deeper. Being loud in your head is not only about language. Sometimes it is about identity. When you speak another language, you are not only translating words, you are translating yourself, your personality, your humor, your intelligence, your emotions. And this is very difficult. In your own language, you know exactly who you are. In a new language, you may feel smaller, slower, less sharp. And this can hurt. I have felt this pain. I have thought, in my language, I am interesting. In English, I am simple. But this is an illusion. You are not simpler. You are just expressing complexity with fewer tools. Like an artist with only a pencil, not yet with all the colors. And every day, you are adding one new color, one new word, one new phrase, one new way to express yourself. Let me give you another sentence to practice. Repeat after me. I need a little time to think. I need a little time to think. This sentence is very kind. It protects you. It gives you space. You do not need to answer immediately. Thinking is not weakness. Thinking is wisdom. Now, let me share a quiet truth. Some of the best thinkers I know are the quietest in meetings. They speak less, but when they speak, their words are clear. Because they have listened. Because they have observed. Because they have thought deeply. So if today you are someone who listens more than you speak, do not try to become someone else. Do not try to become loud. Become clear. Become gentle. Become brave in small steps. Let me ask you another question. When you imagine yourself speaking at work in the future, what do you see? Do you see yourself confident, calm, natural? Hold that image, not as a dream, as a direction. Every small sentence you speak today moves you closer to that person. Let me slow down and say this clearly. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is comfort. Fluency is when your mind and your mouth become friends. And this takes time. If you are loud in your head, it means your mind is active. It means you care about meaning. One day your mouth will catch up, but only if you allow yourself to speak now, imperfectly. Let me give you one last practice. This is a very useful sentence at work. Repeat after me. What do you think? What do you think? This sentence is beautiful because you do not need to give an answer. You invite others. You become part of the flow. And slowly, the room becomes less scary. The silence becomes softer. Your voice becomes more familiar to your own ears. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. You do not need to change your personality to succeed in another language. You do not need to become louder, faster, or stronger. You only need to become kinder to yourself. Every quiet thought you have, every sentence you build in your head is part of your learning. Do not be angry with your silence. Listen to it. It is teaching you patience. It is teaching you awareness. And one day, it will teach you how to speak with calm strength. After I say these final words, many listeners tell me something very similar. They say, "When I listen to you, I feel understood." And I think this is because quiet people recognize each other. We recognize the pauses. We recognize the hesitation. We recognize the long thinking behind short sentences. So now, I want to stay with you a little longer and go deeper into this quiet world. There is a place between silence and speech. A small space. This is the place where courage lives. Not big courage, not dramatic courage. Small courage. The courage to raise your hand a little, the courage to say one word, the courage to let your accent be heard. Most people imagine courage as something loud, but real courage is often very quiet. It sounds like this. I will try. It sounds like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like this. Can I say something? These sentences are not strong, but they are honest. And honesty is the beginning of confidence. Let me tell you about a mistake I made once. In a meeting, I finally decided to speak. I prepared my sentence very carefully. When I said it, I used the wrong word. Not a small mistake. A big mistake. The room became quiet. For 1 second, I felt my face become hot. I wanted to disappear. And then, something unexpected happened. Someone smiled. Another person said, "Oh, you mean this?" They corrected me. And the meeting continued. No one laughed. No one judged. The world did not end. After that day, I learned a very important lesson. Most mistakes are much smaller in other people's eyes than in our own mind. In your head, a mistake becomes a disaster. In reality, it becomes a small moment that disappears in 1 minute. So if today you are afraid of making mistakes, I want you to remember this. Mistakes are not walls. They are doors. They show you where to improve. They show others that you are human. And they show you that you survived. Now, let me help you with something very gentle. When you are quiet at work, sometimes people think you have no ideas. This is not fair. But it happens. So you need small ways to show that you are thinking. Not long speeches. Small signals. For example, you can nod and say, "Yes, I agree." Or, "That makes sense." Or, "I see." These are very small sentences, but they tell others, I am listening. I am with you. I am part of this conversation. Repeat after me. That makes sense. That makes sense. Again. I see. I see. These sentences are simple, but they build presence. Presence is very important. You do not need to speak a lot to be present. You only need to show that your mind is awake. Now, I want to talk about something more personal. Sometimes being loud in your head is not only about work, it is about life. It is about everything you did not say, the questions you kept inside, the feelings you did not express, the dreams you did not describe. Language is not only for meetings. Language is for your life. When you learn to speak more at work, you are also learning to speak more to yourself. You are learning to say, "This is what I want. This is what I feel. This is who I am." And this is very powerful. Let me share a quiet moment. One evening, after a long day of not speaking much, I went for a walk. The street was calm. The air was cool. And I realized something. All day I had been speaking only in my head, and my head was tired. When we do not speak, our thoughts stay trapped. When we speak, our thoughts become lighter. So speaking is not only communication, speaking is also relief. If you are loud in your head, maybe your mind is asking you to let some words go. Not perfect words, just honest ones. Let me give you one more sentence to practice. This one is very simple. Repeat after me. I'm still thinking about this. I'm still thinking about this. This sentence is beautiful. It tells others, I am not ready yet, but I am engaged. You do not need fast answers. You need true answers. Now, I want to reflect on something important. In many cultures, silence is respected. Silence means wisdom. Silence means maturity. In other cultures, silence is misunderstood. Silence means weakness. Silence means lack of ideas. If you are working in a culture that does not understand silence well, your life can be difficult. But you can learn to translate your silence, not by becoming loud, by becoming visible. One sentence per meeting, one question per discussion, one small contribution per day. This is enough. Progress is not dramatic. Progress is quiet. Let me say this very clearly. You do not need to become someone else to succeed in English. You do not need a new personality. You only need a new habit. The habit of trying. Trying one sentence. Trying one question. Trying one opinion. And forgiving yourself when it is not perfect. Let me stay with you for a few more moments. Imagine tomorrow. You go to work. There is a meeting. You feel the same fear? Your heart beats a little faster. But today, you remember this conversation. You prepare one sentence. When there is a pause, you say it. Maybe your voice shakes. Maybe your grammar is not perfect. But you speak. And when you finish, you realize something very important. You are still alive. You are still respected. And you are a little stronger than yesterday. This is how confidence is built. Not in big moments, in small ones. If you are quiet at work but loud in your head, do not fight this. Use it. Your thinking is your strength. Your listening is your gift. And your voice, even if it is soft, has a place in this world. I am very proud of you for continuing to learn, for continuing to try, for continuing to listen to yourself. After I finish speaking, there is often a long silence. Not an empty silence. A thinking silence. And I imagine you sitting somewhere, maybe with headphones, maybe on a bus, maybe in your room after a long day. And I imagine your own thoughts becoming a little quieter, or maybe clearer. So let me continue with you just a little longer. There is something I have learned about quiet people. We often believe that our job is to listen. We believe that other people's voices are more important. We believe that speaking is a kind of interruption. So we wait. We wait for the perfect moment. We wait for the perfect sentence. We wait until we are absolutely sure. But the perfect moment rarely comes, and the perfect sentence does not exist. Language is not mathematics. Language is movement. It is alive. It is messy. It grows only when you use it. Let me tell you about another habit I created. Before a meeting, I asked myself one question. What is one thing I could say today? Not 5 things. Not 10 ideas. One thing. Sometimes it was an opinion. Sometimes it was a question. Sometimes it was only agreement. But I made a small promise to myself. Today, I will let my voice exist once. This habit changed my life. Not because I became loud, because I became consistent. Consistency is more important than confidence. If you speak once every day, even one sentence, your fear becomes smaller. Your voice becomes familiar. Your brain learns. Speaking is normal. Speaking is safe. Speaking is part of who I am. Now, let me help you with something emotional. Many quiet people carry a hidden sadness. The sadness of being unseen. You work hard. You think deeply. You care a lot. But because you speak little, people may not notice your effort. This can hurt. Very deeply. If you have ever felt invisible at work, I want you to know something. Visibility does not come from talking a lot. Visibility comes from clarity. From choosing the right moment. From saying one meaningful sentence. From being reliable. Your reputation is not built by noise. It is built by trust. Let me give you another sentence to practice. Repeat after me. In my opinion. In my opinion. This sentence is very powerful. It tells others, this is my voice. This is my view. You do not need to be right. You only need to be honest. Now, I want to speak directly to your fear. Fear says, if I speak, they will see my weakness. But I want to tell you something important. When people hear your accent, your pauses, your searching for words, they often do not think, this person is weak. They think, this person is brave. Because speaking another language in front of others is one of the bravest things a human can do. You are not behind. You are doing something difficult. Now, let us talk about time. Many learners believe, I am too slow. I should be fluent already. I am late. This belief is very heavy. Language does not follow a calendar. Language follows experience. Every conversation you avoid slows you down. Every conversation you try moves you forward. Even if it is imperfect. Especially if it is imperfect. Let me share one more reflection. Sometimes being loud in your head means you are afraid of being judged. So you judge yourself first. You say, "My English is bad. My idea is stupid. My voice is strange." This inner judge is very strong, stronger than any real person. So today, I want to give you a new role. Not the role of student, the role of learner. A student waits to be correct. A learner allows mistakes. A learner allows confusion. A learner allows growth. Repeat after me. I am a learner. I am a learner. This sentence is very kind. It gives you permission to be imperfect. Now, let me imagine something with you. Imagine a room. In this room, everyone speaks freely. No one laughs at mistakes and no one interrupts. Everyone listens with patience. This room is not a dream. This room begins with you, with the way you treat yourself, with the way you speak to your own fear. If you are gentle with yourself, you will become gentle with others, and people will feel safe around your voice. This is a great gift. Before we end, I want to leave you with one final image. Think of your voice like a small river. At first it is quiet. It moves slowly. It is hidden between stones. But every day it flows, and slowly it becomes stronger. Not because it is loud, because it never stops moving. If you are quiet at work but loud in your head, do not be ashamed of this. This is the beginning of wisdom. This is the beginning of depth. And this is the beginning of a voice that will one day speak with calm strength and quiet confidence. Sometimes, after I record an episode like this, I receive a message from a listener that stays with me for a long time. They say something like, "At work, I speak only 5 sentences a day, but in my head, I speak all day." And when I read this, I smile very softly, because I know exactly what they mean. There is a whole invisible world inside quiet people. A world full of plans, a world full of doubts, a world full of questions and hopes. And most of this world never reaches the air. So now, I want to walk with you a little longer inside this invisible world. Let me tell you about a morning. You wake up. Before you open your eyes, your mind is already working. You think about the meeting. You think about the email you must write. You think about the conversation you might have. Your body is still in bed, but your head is already at work. For quiet people, thinking starts early and ends very late. This can be exhausting. Sometimes we are not tired because we work too much. We are tired because we think too much. So I want to teach you something very simple. Not about English, about silence. Real silence. Not the silence of fear, the silence of rest. Once a day, try to sit somewhere and do nothing with language. No planning, no translating, no preparing sentences. Just breathe. Because if your head is always loud, your heart becomes tired. And a tired heart finds it harder to speak. Now, let me return to work, to that familiar place where many of your fears live. There is something important that no one teaches language learners. At work, people do not expect perfection. They expect participation. They do not listen to count your mistakes. They listen to understand your intention. This changes everything. If you focus on being correct, you become silent. If you focus on being clear, you begin to speak. Let me give you another sentence to practice. Repeat after me. Let me explain what I mean. Let me explain what I mean. This sentence is very useful because it gives you time. It tells others, I am searching for words. Please be patient with me. And most people will be patient because they know how difficult this is. Now, I want to talk about a very quiet emotion. Shame. Many learners carry shame. Shame about their accent. Shame about their grammar. Shame about sounding simple. Shame is very dangerous because shame tells you, hide. And when you hide, you stop growing. So today, I want you to hear this very clearly. Your accent is not a problem. Your accent is a story. It tells people that you learned something difficult. It tells people that you crossed borders. It tells people that you did not give up. This is not something to hide. This is something to respect. Let me repeat this for you. Your accent is a story. Your accent is a story. Now, let me share a small technique. When you are afraid to speak, lower your goal. Do not aim to be impressive. Aim to be understood. Do not aim to be fluent. Aim to be honest. For example, instead of saying a long sentence, say 2 short ones. Instead of searching for a perfect word, use a simple one. Simple English is strong English. Clear English is confident English. Now, let me speak about listening. Quiet people are often excellent listeners. You hear things others miss. You notice tone. You notice hesitation. You notice feelings behind words. This is a rare skill, and this skill can help you speak. When you listen well, you know when to speak. You know what is needed. You know how to add value. So do not think, I am only quiet. Think, I am observant. I am careful. I am thoughtful. These are leadership qualities. Yes, quiet people can be leaders, not leaders who shout, leaders who guide, leaders who think, leaders who choose their words with care. Let me tell you another true story. I once worked with a woman who almost never spoke in meetings. For months, I thought she was shy. Then one day, there was a big problem. Everyone spoke. Many ideas, many voices. And she stayed quiet. At the end, she said one sentence. Just one. And her sentence solved the problem. After that day, everyone waited for her voice because they learned something. When she speaks, it matters. So silence can create power if you use it wisely. Now, I want to talk to you about patience. Learning to speak freely takes much longer than learning grammar. Grammar is knowledge. Speaking is courage. Knowledge grows fast. Courage grows slowly. And this is normal. If today you can speak one sentence more than yesterday, you are succeeding. Do not compare yourself to people who grew up in English. Compare yourself to who you were 1 year ago, 1 month ago, 1 week ago, Progress is often invisible when you look at others. It becomes visible when you look at yourself. Let me give you another gentle sentence. Repeat after me. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. This sentence protects you. It gives you dignity. It tells the truth. And the truth is always enough. Now, let me stay with you for just a few more moments. If you are listening to this late at night, maybe after a difficult day, I want you to know something. You are not behind in life. You are not slow. You are simply taking a careful path. And careful paths often lead to deep places. One day, you will speak in a meeting and you will not think about grammar. You will not think about accent. You will only think about meaning. And after you finish, you will feel something very quiet and very beautiful. You will feel free. Until that day comes, be patient, be kind, and keep allowing your voice to take small steps into the world. There is one last thing I want to share with you before we say goodbye. It is something I learned very late in my life. For many years, I believed that speaking well meant speaking without fear. But now I know this is not true. Speaking well means speaking with fear and choosing to speak anyway. Fear does not disappear when you become fluent. Fear changes its shape. At first you fear grammar. Later, you fear sounding boring. Later, you fear being misunderstood. Fear stays. But your relationship with fear changes. At the beginning, fear controls you. Later, you learn to walk with it. So if today, your heart beats fast before you speak, if your hands feel a little cold, if your thoughts become confused, this does not mean you are not ready. It means you are at the edge of growth. Every important change in life begins with this feeling. Now, I want you to remember one simple truth. Your value at work does not come from how fast you speak. It comes from how well you think. It comes from how carefully you listen. It comes from how honestly you try. Language is only a tool. You are more than your English. Much more. You are a person with experience, with intelligence, with sensitivity. English is only the bridge, not the destination. Let me imagine one final scene with you. It is some months from now. You are in a meeting. The same kind of room. The same kind of people. But something is different. When there is a pause, you do not panic. You take a breath. And you speak. Not loudly, not perfectly, but naturally. After the meeting, you walk back to your desk. And inside your head, there is less noise. Not because you said everything, because you said enough. And you smile a little, because you know something now that you did not know before. You can do this. If today you are quiet at work but loud in your head, I want you to leave this episode with one gentle promise to yourself. Tomorrow, I will try one sentence. Not to be perfect, only to be present. That is all. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for trusting me with your silence, with your fear, and with your hope. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself.